All right, today we're going to dig into something I think is pretty clever. It's a solution to a problem I bet almost everyone has had at some point. We're going deep on cordless lighting, and we're going to do it by looking at just one product page to figure out what it promises, what people really think about it, and, if it's actually the right solution for you. I mean, how many times has this happened to you? You've got the perfect spot for a light, a cool sconce you want to hang, but nope, not an outlet in sight. It's got to be one of the most common design headaches out there. And this problem pops up everywhere, right? We're talking about putting up those cool wall sconces without calling an electrician, or finally getting some decent light in a dark closet or pantry. Garages, for sure. The product we're looking at even mentions it's great for camping or, and this is a big one, when the power goes out. So, yeah, let's just lay it out clearly. The problem is simple. We need light where traditional wiring just can't or won't go. It's an issue we all get, but finding a good, elegant fix has always been tricky. Okay, so that brings us to the solution. A whole bunch of new products have popped up to solve this exact thing, all promising light pretty much anywhere you want it, with zero wiring needed. And today, we're going to zero in on one of the most popular ways they do it. And the idea behind it? It's actually so simple, it's brilliant. It's a light bulb that looks like a regular bulb, but it's totally self-sufficient. It's got its own battery, you control it with a little remote, and this is the really smart part, it's magnetic, which makes everything super, super easy. And check out how easy this is. Step 1, you screw the base into a normal light socket, just like any old bulb. Then the bulb itself just clicks onto it with a magnet. That's it. From then on, you use the remote to turn it on, dim it, set timers, whatever. And when it needs a charge, you just pop it off the magnet and plug it into a USB-C cable. No twisting, no hassle. So that's the whole concept. But what does the company actually promise you'll get? Let's dive into the official specs. The stuff they tell you on the page to get you to click that buy button. On paper, this thing looks pretty sweet, right? You've got a 2000 milliamp hour battery, brightness is listed at 350 lumens. You can even switch between 3 different light colors, warm, natural, and cool white. Charges up pretty fast, just 3 to 4 hours. And here's the number I want you to remember, the runtime. They claim 5 to 30 hours. We are definitely coming back to that. Oh, and of course you get that handy remote with a dimmer and a timer. Seems great. But, marketing promises are one thing. The real story is always in the reviews, what happens when these things actually end up in our homes. So let's see how reality lines up with those impressive specs. And right off the bat, we're looking at a 4.2 out of 5 from over 1,100 ratings. That's pretty good. It tells you that most people who buy this are actually happy with it. But it's not a perfect 5 stars, and that little gap is usually where the interesting stuff is hiding. And this chart really paints the picture, doesn't it? A huge 2/3 of people, they love it. 5 stars, no complaints. But then you look at the other side. You add it all up, and more than 1 in 5 users gave it 3 stars or less. So there's a real divide here. Most people think it's fantastic, but a pretty big chunk of them are running into some problems. A lot of these products pages now have this AI summary of the reviews, and it's super helpful. It basically cuts right to the heart of the matter. People absolutely love how easy it is to use, the setup, the remote, that awesome magnetic design. But the 2 things a light bulb has to do well, be bright and stay on, are getting, and I quote, mixed reviews. Okay, that's our cue to dig in. So let's start with the good stuff. This 5-star review from Lavinia Kern is basically the dream scenario, right? She had these sconces she wanted to use, but they weren't wired up. This product was the perfect fix. For her, it was a total aha moment. This is exactly the kind of problem solving that gets you those 5-star reviews. Now for that first mixed category, brightness. You can see the split right here pretty clearly. Now, most people who talked about brightness were okay with it, but look at that second bar. A solid third of them felt it was just too dim. This is the first big clue about where things can go wrong. And here's the other side of that coin. This is what the people in that negative bar are talking about. This user, BJA, says even at full blast, at 100%, the bulbs just weren't bright enough. They basically said, look, these are fine for some mood lighting, maybe camping, but not for actually lighting up a room. And that is a huge difference. And guess what? We see almost the exact same story when it comes to battery life. Again, more people were happy than not, but again, about a third of the people who mentioned it felt totally let down. So this is the second major area where expectations and reality seem to be clashing. And this review is super helpful because it gives us an actual number to work with. Miss Peskyface reports that even on the dimmest setting, the battery is dead in 6 hours. You can feel the frustration, right? The whole point is convenience, but if you're constantly having to take them down to charge, it kind of defeats the purpose. So let's just put that right next to each other, because this right here is the key to everything. The manufacturer promises this big, wide range, 5 to 30 hours, but a real user is getting maybe 6 hours on the lowest setting. That's a massive difference, and it's almost certainly why we're seeing all those less than perfect reviews. All right, so we've seen the promises, we've waded through the reality of the reviews. What does it all mean? Let's bring it all together and figure out the final verdict. So, where do these things really shine? Based on all the happy customers, it's pretty clear. They are perfect for accent lighting or just creating a bit of a mood where you don't need a ton of light. They are a genuinely fantastic fix for making those decorative unwired sconces actually work. And yeah, they're awesome to have in a drawer fully charged for when the power goes out. But you gotta be honest about the downsides, right? The user reviews are pretty clear on the limitations too. These are not what you want for task lighting. Like, don't try to read a book under one of these. You have to be okay with charging them pretty often, and you just have to accept that they're not going to be as bright as a regular bulb that's plugged into the wall. And that really is the bottom line. This isn't some magical, perfect product, but it is a brilliant solution for a very specific problem. It's all about expectations. If you need some nice ambient light where there's no outlet and you're cool with the battery situation, this thing is a game changer. If you're expecting it to be just like a normal light bulb, you're probably going to be disappointed. So the question really comes back to you and what you need. Now that you know what's promised and what's delivered in the real world, you can decide for yourself if this little piece of tech is the bright idea you've been looking for to light up your own dark corners. Thanks for tuning in.